Hello, welcome to my channel, A Book Forest. My name is Kim, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Praetorian by Guy de la Bédoyère. So this is a book about the Praetorian Guard in the Roman Empire. It says the rise and fall of Rome's imperial bodyguard. So I read this for Historathon 2026 for the first quarter, so it's prehistory to year 580. I wanted to review it earlier at the end of March, at the end of the quarter, but I didn't have time, so now I'm doing it. The first thing I'm gonna say about this is if you're new to Roman history, if you really know pretty much nothing about it, or only like Julius Caesar and that's it, I would say don't start with this. I would say it's fine if you know a lot about the emperors or even the Republic before. And if you've just like read one or two general history books on Rome, you should be able to wend your way through this book. I think, it helps if you know what the Praetorian are before starting and a little bit about the main emperors and what happened in their reign. Otherwise, yeah, you'll be fine. If you like very detailed, very well researched, very single-minded subjects, because it's definitely the lens is on the Praetorian Guards and it never leaves. Like it's gonna talk about everything surrounding them, like what created them and which emperors were there, but it's definitely always the target is the Praetorian. So if you're more interested in general subjects, I would say like stay away from that one. I was impressed by the research, like the author Bédoyère, Guy de la Bédoyère. I don't know how to pronounce his name in English because he has kind of a French name, but he's British. I have no idea how he pronounces his name, so I'm going to say it in French. So the first emperor, the emperor that created the Praetorian Guard, which essentially were bodyguards for Roman emperors initially. It was Augustus, the first emperor. So they had like a sort of a embryonic presence during the times of Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. Like there were some bodyguards, and probably Julius Caesar would have profited from having bodyguards, but alas he didn't. So we have Augustus who creates the Praetorians. So they're kind of the creme de la creme of soldiers. So they're there just singly to protect the emperor and do his bidding. And they have a special standing, and the emperor gives them, like upon accession, he's going to give them money and like curry their favors because they're kind of powerful. But initially they were just there to be bodyguards. And then what happened is that Tiberius, the second emperor after Augustus, kind of didn't want to deal with the managing of his empire. He just wanted to do other disgusting thing on his island in Italy. So he just wanted to have fun and be a bit lecherous and disgusting. So he left all the running of the empire to his Praetorian head, the head of the Praetorian Guard, Sejanus. So Sejanus is a special character. He was totally corrupt. He wanted power, and of course, like it was put under his nose. So what could the man do? So Sejanus kind of oversaw the building of the Castra Praetoria, which is a fortified place for Praetorian to hang out. Big mistake. Don't give a fortified anything to people you want to control, otherwise they'll end up controlling you. Which is kind of what happens during the rest of the Roman Empire. The Praetorians become more and more powerful, and eventually they're the ones deciding who should be emperor. Very clearly, very soon, and who shouldn't be. So they're murdering some emperors, they're naming other emperors. So if you want to be the Roman emperor, you have to be in with the Praetorians. So that means give them money and let them do what they like. But it was very interesting. Like, of course, it's very fascinating to see, like, oh, who's the most powerful, the emperor or the people with the weapons next to the emperor? But it was also very fascinating to see, like, all the roles that the Praetorian had over the years. Like, they started out as bodyguards, but they were also spies. Like, they had a network of spies. They ended up sometimes military police force. They were a status symbol, because if you had, like, your Praetorians around you, like, it was a very impressive to others. Like, for example, Nero was walking around with his Praetorian, like, they were more like for show. They were also creditors, I think. At some points, like, they might have been lending money in the lending money business. Some of them were became emperor in the end. They were also army. They were used as an army as well. Military commanders, administrative managers. Like, they were actually some proof that they were probably administrators in the provinces. Like, so they were all over the place doing a lot of things. So what really happened is, like, they had these stages in their life, like the life of the Praetorians. They started at the bodyguard. They were then kingmakers or king killers, and then in that's the first century. That's I would say the height of their powers at that time. And then they kind of waned a bit in the second century. They were a bit sidelined. They were more sent to war, which is actually strategically probably what you should do with some. If you don't want them to overthrow you, just send them fighting in a war. And then the third century, it was chaos. Like, I was less familiar with the third century history of Rome, and it's complete utter chaos. I don't know how people got anything done during that century. Like, the poor people, the peasants, and the people in the cities, they must have been, like, so tired. Because they was like, okay, there's one emperor, and then he names a prefect for his Praetorian Guard, and then the prefect gets really powerful and he kills previous emperor and becomes the emperor himself, and then so on and so forth for a long time. Like, I don't know how they didn't crumble, like the empire didn't crumble before it did. And then the Praetorian, like, kind of did something they shouldn't have done. They sided with the losing party at the end. So there was Constantine, like Constantine, who founded Constantinople. So when the empire was kind of divided in two, so Constantine was fighting against someone else, I think Maxentius or something like that, and the Praetorian sided with the Maxentius, not Constantine. And then Constantine said, like, yeah, you fought for my enemy, so go away. I'm kidding. I'm being very playful, but it's kind of sort of what happens. What's impressive with this is that the sources are kind of few and far between. Like, there is, of course, contemporary sources. Personal favorite would be Suetonius, who wrote the 12 Caesars. I highly recommend that before reading this. There's also Dio, who kind of was sort of in that world. Tacitus, and there was also the ruins of Pompeii and Herculaneum had some evidence of Praetorian administrative goings on, and also the coinage, because every emperor was stamping his own coins, and some of those coins, they have, like, definite Praetorian influences. So it's very impressive with so little information what they can gather. So I was very impressed by the research and the detail. I think he spent a lot of time wondering how many cohorts of Praetorians there were at any given time. Like, it's like, maybe there were 11, but maybe it was 10, or maybe, oh, it might have been 12. I'm like, that was not really necessary for me personally, because I'm not a historian. I'm not a specialist. I have not studied history. So I'm just doing this for fun or for knowledge, but it's not a career or anything. So that was a bit much for me. Like at some point I was like, okay, I don't care how many cohorts there are at any given time. And I don't see I'm sure it's important for historians to know, but if you're reading this just as a newbie, it's intense. But otherwise, very good. So yeah, just know that going in that it's definitely very Praetorian centric. If you're not interested in that subject, just don't bother. But if you're kind of tired of the old, like, general Roman history centered on emperors mostly, I would say that's very interesting. And I think there's the ruins of the Castra Praetoria was eventually destroyed, but there's still some walls in Rome. So yeah, very interesting. Like, the history is still there today. And think I'm gonna read more by Guy de la Bédoyère. I know he's written something called Domina, so it's about the women who made Rome, like the influential women in Rome. That's quite interesting. But if there's anything else that he's written that you think is more interesting or a bit like different, just let me know. And yeah, see you next time.